You talk a lot about like how you do little things for your customers. Like, you're putting stickers in, you're giving things extra, just like what you talked about with these guys coming to the show. And you just saw, like, I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys tickets, help you out. Where does that come from? Where did you get that from?
A guy in Toledo, Ohio. I'm just kidding. No. It comes from skateboarding and snowboarding, punk rockery. Not just so while we're the record straight. Punk rock is not spikes in your hair and shit. No, okay. You know what I mean? Okay. To try to illustrate what I mean by that, because here's the thing: I'll go on these podcasts and some kids like, "Hey, we are punk rock. We listen to, chill out." We went and saw the Indigo Girls this summer because I did this like concert series poster thing for this thing called Live PDX Live, and we went and saw the Indigo Girls. A couple weeks later, we went and saw Tenacious D. We're going to go see, I think, P-Funk coming up pretty quick here just to go, we got a pass, and you get to go use it. It's like one of my paychecks. But here's the deal. When you're at the Indigo Girls, now listen, I know a couple songs, but that's punk rock to me because those girls, they were fighting the good fight for, their sorts of people 30 and 40 years ago, right? When you had to hide, right? Okay, so we're at that show, and it's like, I just want to witness that. They're getting older, and there they are. So that sort of like crowd interaction of like they're all in it together, this punk rock quality of like, we're not here just to rake you over the coals to take every buck. It's where that comes from specifically, Nick, is like being at like a merch table and being like I couldn't afford something, and the guy just kind of being like, "Here, just take it. He could tell. He can tell that like it's the end of the night, doesn't want to put it away, or I'm just kind of I don't have the money to go up and just pop for it. It kind of comes from that, and it also comes from like growing up in a small town in northern Michigan where like there's not a lot of stuff coming through, and the couple things that did come through, we could sit and talk with the band or meet these guys and get a handshake, and it was real one-to-one. When I get out west, it was like Mike Watt, this rock and roll guy, Mike Watt, where like, he's driving the van, he's unloading the van, he's selling you t-shirts afterwards, he's taking a photo with you, he's making the music, and it's like does everything, what he calls a kano. And that really affected me. Like, like this is not just about the highest price, can only afford it kind of thing ever. In fact, I'm going to Toledo in a month and a half, to kind of do a small little fall tour, and like, I'm not reaching out to Detroit or Cleveland. I'm just gonna go hit Toledo, and if people come down over to it, cool. It's it means a lot to me to be able to make that accessible for some kid who's a fan in Toledo. They don't have to drive up to Detroit or over to Chicago or Cleveland, like they often have in the past. And just kind of like saying, what matters? What matters is it just about a bottom line of like, what return on whatever the hell's, like, no, like we're here to be together. And I want everyone to enjoy it. And I want everyone, like, like my favorite record companies when I was a kid, when you got the record and you pulled the record out, like stickers and buttons and shit spilled out with it. They didn't have to do that. But no, it wins your heart. It wins your heart, and it shows you that you're in it with them. And somewhere they make a little profit. It might not be giant, but you want to support that, So, and on a more cynical note, here in Portland, Oregon, everything has an upcharge if you want ice in your glass. You know what I mean? No. You get water in your glass, and you go to a water station. Give me a fucking water station. I just paid $28 for this cheeseburger. Water station, the little water station. Like, I want you to put the water in the glass with like they do at Waffle House. They bring it. It's I know that sounds a little chumpy, but like it's just like everything has a UPC code on it. And there's no movement in the price to be like, no, that's what these earrings cost. I'm an artisan and I make this kind of bullshit where it's like, stop it. Yeah. I know how you make them. You can't work with me on the price. Like, listen, I get people who come up to me at these merch tables back when we were doing a ton of them. They have a big pile of stuff, and they'd be like, all right, can we do it for this price? Now, it's like, yeah, you can. Thank you. Now some knuckle dragger comes up and he says, hey, now he's holding some $17 pineapple drink he's drinking on at a festival we're at. He's wearing a $400, marmoset jacket or something. There's no deals for that asshole. That's when I kind of look and I go,
yeah,
those are pretty sweet dunks you got on there. Limited edition, $285. There's no deals for you, asshole. Why is it the guys with these we do these winter merch markets, and the people that would ask for the shittiest deal always were wearing a $500 jacket? What's that all about? And I just say, your jacket, get the fuck out of here. It's like, the kid who just came up and bought a pile of stuff, of course I'm going to give him a deal. He comes every couple months, Anyway, I to try to answer that, it's like, just don't want to take myself too seriously. There's wiggle room in life. There's wiggle room in a price tag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love you're carrying on that punk rock vibe, because punk isn't just music or the way you dress. It's your attitude. It's like you understand what it's like to be that person. You're on the other side, but you're not like, well, I made it to this level, and so I'm better than you now.
One of the things at 48 years old that I'm running into is I'll meet like a rock and roll guy who's like some kind of a producer or something. And he'll say, well, I'm a producer and I'm recording or engineer of some sort, because that's like the nuts and bolts of what it takes to bring new bands to life, right? And maybe they had a tiny little shot back, whatever their heyday was. And let's just say that one of many, nothing ever came of it. But they'll kind of look at me and be like, we had our shot. It just didn't work. And then I went back to school and learned how to be a recording engineer or whatever. Okay. But I'll stop them and say, wait, what do you mean? You didn't have a commercial break or whatever? No. Well, we toured and I stop them and I'll say, you toured with a bunch of assholes in the van and you did that. Oh yeah. We went this way, went that way. Why isn't that enough? Why isn't that enough? What's big? I don't know, Maroon 5 or some shit. What's big? Who cares? You did it. Because there were a lot of people that did it at that level and made just enough to cover their rent. And that's honorable too. And admirable. And not easy to pull off. So I'm always that person who, like when I'm at that Adobe Max, for years, there was this one kid who would come up to me and say, I'm that guy from Subway. And I was like, well, corporate Subway. And I'd say, man, I go have a Subway every now and again, and I destroy I eat the paper and all of it in one big thing, eat the straw and whatever. But I want to see all the good design and all those parts and pieces. That's what you work on? Yeah, that's what I work on. Okay, well then, do they pay you enough to have insurance and make some money and whatever? Yeah. Okay, stop. It's okay. It's okay to be that. And what is the biggest, coolest thing? Who cares? So it's a part of that, understanding what you're capable of, understanding what it's going to be, and chewing on that without that grass is greener. I do it too much, if we did this, I'd be this much farther ahead. So yeah, I know it sounds a little romantic, but it was trying to be in the moment a little bit more than maybe I'm comfortable with, and just letting it ride.